Welcome back to another episode of the A Sports Podcast. My name's Art Hill, my brother Alex.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Alex, big weekend of fights. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the fights and checked them out like we recommended on our preview podcast. Real quick, this week, Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor. Sorry, A side, B side. We'll be having that preview up Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So make sure you guys check that out. Big fight this weekend. But real quick, we're going to recap what happened last weekend in both the UFC and in boxing. So we'll start with Charles Oliveira becoming the new undisputed lightweight champion. Alex, thoughts on Chandler Oliveira? It turned out to be a great fight.
It was really good. I was very surprised by both of them. Both of them showed some things that we hadn't seen, like Michael Chandler when he got his back taken by Charles Oliveira and somehow was able to escape. You usually don't escape from a guy like Charles Oliveira.
He looked so strong in that exchange.
Yeah, he looked like a goddamn gorilla, man.
Yeah.
Just complete power.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charles Oliveira showed his stand-up game where he actually knocked out Michael Chandler, which nobody saw that coming.
No, I think it was 16-1 odds.
Yeah, it was big
odds. Oliveira knocking out Chandler. Anything from Michael Chandler said that he would win the title, within the next 12 months. Anything in this fight tell you that he can do that?
There's a big possibility, but I think he's going to have to go through a line of killers if he wants a shot at that title, because he's got Dustin Poirier, he's got Gaethje, he's got
McGregor.
Yeah, McGregor, and all these guys can crack a lot harder than Charles Oliveira. So, I mean, but Charles Oliveira is more well-rounded than all these guys. Because his stand-up game has evolved, so he's not the same Charles Oliveira that he used to be. Like he's a lot better on the feet now.
Yeah,
and now even with the threat of his ground game, I feel like that's what's leading him to be more accomplished on the feet now, because nobody wants to get taken down by this guy.
Yeah,
so it leaves him a lot more of openings.
He looked so smooth though on his feet, especially that combination
more comfortable.
Yeah, that knocked down Michael Chandler, and then when all the trouble started for Michael Chandler, you could tell Oliveira just looked so good on the feet. He was so comfortable. And part of it, in this fight, he had to overcome some adversity. He's been overcoming adversity his whole career.
Yeah,
he's on a 9-fight win streak right now, but like we said in the preview podcast, he started his UFC career 10-8. He's been in the UFC for 11 years. I believe he's fought 30 times in those 11 years. And now he's world champion. So congrats to Charles Oliveira. Obviously, the next question would be, what's next for Charles Oliveira?
I really don't know. It could be Justin Gaethje is what they're talking about. But with Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor fighting each other, who knows what's really next for Charles Oliveira? It could be Gaethje versus Dariush, maybe. Maybe Charles Oliveira doesn't feel like fighting one of them yet. So I think it just depends. I think either one of those guys is going to be next for Charles Oliveira. We just don't know yet. And then we don't know where Michael Chandler goes. Who are they going to put in front of him now?
Yep.
And what if Chandler fights Gaethje?
Yeah.
Say... Well, Charles Oliveira did say he wanted to take some time off, so who knows?
Chandler Gaethje, Poirier McGregor, kind of get one of those two winners to fight Oliveira. It's kind of a big mix-up at lightweight, and I think any more thoughts on this fight?
Not really. I mean, it was a great showing by both guys. I think, Charles Oliveira, I mean, you can't script it better. Mm-hmm. You start your career 10-8. You're taking losses left and right. He wasn't really in the talks of him being UFC champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At one point, but then he goes on this complete tear where he's finishing guys. He's got 28 finishes in the UFC.
Yep.
28 finishes. You go from 10-8. Now you got 28 finishes in the UFC, and now you're UFC champion. Hey, tip my hat off to the guy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see what's next for him in his lightweight career. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, Beneil Dariush was able to beat Tony Ferguson by unanimous decision. I don't think there was any controversy over who won the fight. You're a big Tony Ferguson fan. Give me your thoughts on this fight.
Oh man, I don't know. This one hurts. It hurts like it's hurting all the other ones. I mean, it's awful. I don't know. I think time definitely did get to Tony Ferguson, and I'm one of his biggest fans. I mean, I've always liked Tony Ferguson. I feel like his regimens of the way he trains for fights. I feel like the gas tank that he has. You know, I've looked up a lot of his videos, you know, to get some inspiration when you want to go work out, when you feel like, I don't really feel like getting up to do things. So you kind of look at how Tony Ferguson works out and everything like, man, you know, I wish I had that type of gas tank to where you could go and freaking run hills with a fucking, you know, weight vest on you and all kinds of stuff.
And still lapping people.
Yeah, and still lapping youngsters as he's saying. I mean, you know, as you can see right there in the picture, he got caught in is that a heel hook or a knee bar? I think it's a heel hook.
Yeah, but it was definitely his knee that popped. Something in his knee popped.
Yeah, it was his knee that popped. I mean, you can't teach this.
Yeah.
And that's something that Tony Ferguson has. He has tremendous heart. I mean, Charles Oliveira damn near snapped his arm in half.
Yeah.
And he still didn't tap. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dariush said that something popped in his knee. Yeah, Dana White in the post-fight press conference, he said that Tony Ferguson's ankle looked like a golf ball.
Oh god!
It was like the size of a golf ball. So
dang.
Something might have happened there as well in his ankle, and he still didn't tap. So yeah. Hey, I tip my hat off to Tony Ferguson, man. This guy's got he's as tough as they come. They say that when the Hulk gets pissed off, he turns into Tony Ferguson. You know what I mean? So it really hurts me to see this one, but I do think that time eventually caught up to him, and I don't know if he ever comes back to this type of spot like where Dariush is at, because he's got a line of killers, man. There's Gaethje, there's Poirier, there's McGregor, Chandler, Oliveira, and it sucks, you know, because he went on a 12-fight win streak at one point.
Yep.
He was in there for the title shot, and then for whatever reason it kept falling through. Mm-hmm. And then now he's on a 3-fight skid, and then he's 37 years old, 3-fight skid. Those things do not go well with each other. So,
no.
Hey, although in the first 2 rounds I don't really feel like Dariush blew him out like people were saying. People were like saying that it wasn't even a close fight or anything like that. Over the first 2 rounds, it wasn't like Dariush really like did anything that separated himself from him.
True.
It just seemed like he was in a better position the entire round.
He had more control.
And it was a very boring fight.
Yeah, he didn't really put physical damage on, other than that knee bar. There wasn't much physical damage made by Dariush. I mean, Dariush, and that's the type of fighter Tony Ferguson is, where Dariush had to be careful. He had to be aware of Ferguson doing anything wild or crazy that could have gotten Dariush in trouble. So sometimes at this level fights, when you're fighting at the highest level, guys aren't going to take risks because they're just worried about getting that win. And I think that's what happened with Dariush against Tony Ferguson. He didn't care about looking spectacular, getting the knockout, getting a submission. I mean, he tried the submission, but obviously he let it go once he realized that Ferguson wasn't going to tap. So he just played it safe and just, try to just maintain control and win the rounds, which, it sucks for the fans to see. But, I mean, you can't blame Dariush for just trying to win.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw some crazy stat where they said that Tony Ferguson has only landed 30 significant strikes in his past 3 fights, or over the course of 30 minutes or something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and it does kind of make sense because Charles Oliveira was a 3-round fight, and then and now Dariush is a 3-round fight, so that's 30 minutes and 30 significant strikes. But then again, he got taken down the majority of those in those fights. Yeah, so I mean, it's tough to see, but I do think that Father Time has caught him.
And I think,
and that's one thing you can't escape from.
As much work ethic as Tony Ferguson has, I mean, also his body could have just been like, you know what, that's too much punishment, all the road work, all the workouts and all that. If you don't give your body a break to recover, it's not going to respond to you the way you want. So, I mean, like you said, hats off to Tony Ferguson. Always an exciting fighter. Has given us some great fights. But, we hope, at least I hope he takes some time off. And, he's only 37. In MMA, you can kind of, still push a little with the ground game and all that. You could push at a couple more years for him. But, yeah, it's going to be hard for him to make it back to where he was a couple years ago when he was on that streak like you talked about.
I also think as well with Tony Ferguson, I hope he's able to get out while I hope there's somebody that can tell him, when it's time.
Okay.
Because I feel like they're like a guy like Tony Ferguson, guys that work out that much, guys that do that type of training, it's kind of all they know. You know what I mean? So they don't know really when it's time to call it. You know what I mean? And then, I was saying, well, maybe one of his coaches could do. He's been switching training camps and he's been switching around training camps. So maybe he doesn't have that person in his ear to say, hey, it's time, Yep. So I hope that he'll be able to call it on his own terms and call it on his own time, because it's starting to get dangerous now. He's, he could have suffered a broken arm in his last fight. He definitely suffered some type of knee injury, ankle injury in this fight. I mean, I just hope that it doesn't become, to where he keeps getting his limbs snapped just to prove that he's tough. It's not a smart thing to do. But hey, tip my hat off to Tony Ferguson. Been a great career and everything. So hopefully we see what's next. And what's next for Dariush?
We talked about it earlier.
He called out Elon Musk for not getting him his Tesla.
I guess it was back ordered or something.
What?
I don't know.
This guy's the smartest guy that ever lived.
Dariush, obviously we talked about it earlier. Poirier's fighting McGregor. Gaethje's up there. Chandler's just coming off of that loss. So any one of those fights makes sense. Ferguson was number 5. Obviously he's going to drop out of the top 5. And Dariush has an argument to be in that top 5 now at lightweight. So it'll be a nice mix of lightweight fights to finish out the year. Any other fights on this card you want to talk about real quick? There was a couple interesting ones.
Yeah, you said you wanted to talk about the Shane Burgos Edson Barbosa fight.
Shane Burgos Edson Barbosa. Those guys put on a hell of a fight. I think they ended up winning fight of the night or something. No, it was fight of the night. They win.
Did they win fight of the night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Man, that means they got $75,000.
$75,000.
Hey.
I think Edson Barbosa also got performance of the night, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Wow.
So, shout out to those two. If you guys didn't see the knockout, go back and check it out. Shane Burgos versus Edson Barbosa. Barbosa lands like a 1-2. The right hand was a little kind of like a right hook. Hits Burgos on top of the head, and Burgos is standing there ready, and then all of a sudden he just kind of, oh shit, takes a couple steps back and falls. Lands on the cage, he's down, and Barbosa comes and lands 2 more punches, and Burgos had no clue what happened.
Yeah.
This was a featherweight bout. Barbosa had been on a little skid. He couldn't find his feet under him at 145. What do you think this win does for Barbosa? I think Burgos was ranked number 9, and Barbosa was 13 heading into this fight.
Yeah, I'm really not too sure. I don't know if Edson Barbosa gets a shot with a guy like Kelvin Cater or one of those type of guys, but I'm not really too familiar with the 145-pound division when it comes down to like in the lower rankings, like past 6 or 7. I'm not really sure. And then Magomed Sharipov hasn't even been active, and I don't even know if he's even in the UFC anymore.
I know, that's another guy that just disappeared.
Yeah, so you got Alex Volkanovski facing Brian Ortega for the title. Are they still doing the Ultimate Fighter, or they're not anymore?
I'm not sure. Not since the whole COVID thing. I haven't heard anything.
Oh, okay. And then, you still got Max Holloway there, but I'm sure Edson Barbosa is light years away from Max Holloway, like as far as in the rankings, as rankings going. So he's probably 9 now, no?
Probably. He should put into the top 10.
Yeah, so Max Holloway's there. Calvin Cater. I can't really. I don't know who. Korean Zombies there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, there should be some good matchups for him. So I think it was a good move for him for Edson Barbosa to move down from 155. So
And I think he looked better physically in this fight than he has in the past.
He was able to take damage better.
Yeah,
Because I feel like the 155-pound guys, they just hit a little too hard for him.
Yeah. Kayla Shukagan got herself a win. And Rogero Bontorin got an upset win over Matt Schnell, who Schnell, I believe, was like a local favorite.
Yeah, he was.
One fight on the prelims that I wanted to talk about real quick. Jacare Souza versus Andre Muniz. Muniz broke his arm.
Yep.
Have you seen it yet?
I did, and that thing snapped like a broomstick.
That snapped nasty. If you guys like that stuff, go check it out. Jacare Souza versus Andre Muniz on the prelims. I think Muniz is the up and comer at the middleweight division. Jacare was kind of like the gatekeeper for him, and hey, Muniz showed out. And hey, when you break somebody's arm, I mean, props to Jacare for trying not to tap, but god damn, that you don't need it. You can't be taking too many of those.
Yeah, and I think like people were saying, I think Jacare Souza's in a tough spot because now, he's up there in age and now he's getting his limbs snapped in half. And I think
he's 39.
Yeah, and he just got knocked out by Kevin Holland and now he got his arm broken. It just, you're not at the top of the division anymore. Like, what are you doing it for now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're taking this type of damage, it can't be good for your overall health.
Completely agree. Any last thoughts on UFC 262?
No, I mean, overall, some good fights.
I believe the next card we're going to be talking about is Rob Font taking on Cody Garbrandt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next card. So whenever that comes up, we will make sure we...
It's actually this week.
Is it this week?
Yeah, this Saturday.
Dang, we got Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor, and Rob Font. Rob Font against Garbrandt's an interesting fight.
Yeah.
Moving on to boxing, Brandon Figueroa got himself a TKO win over Luis Nery. And what was actually a really good, entertaining fight that lacked a lot of skill.
Yeah.
These guys were just wailing away at each other. But it was exciting. It was still an exciting fight. What'd you think of Brandon Figueroa's performance?
No, I think Brandon Figueroa looked good. I thought this fight was going to have a little... I mean, not with Brandon Figueroa. I think Brandon Figueroa always fights this type of fight.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like Nery... In my opinion, I'll be honest, to me, it looked like Nery knew he wasn't going to have the gas tank to hold up with a guy like Brandon Figueroa. And I thought he fought very dumb.
Oh, okay.
Like, he fought really dumb. He was swinging really wide, and he was missing a lot of those wide shots. And when you do things like that, and you hit as hard as a guy like Nery, you don't have the gas tank to go 12 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got stopped in the 7th round?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look back at those rounds, the way he was missing with those wide shots, I felt like there was no need for him to do that. But I mean, I don't know what he was trying to prove. He's trying to prove something, and he definitely got stopped. And I think he didn't want any more of it.
I think he was looking for a way out before that body shot, and that body shot kind of sealed it for him. Was like, okay, I've had enough. Brandon Figueroa is now slated to fight Stephen Fulton. Real quick, do you have any quick prediction or any thoughts on that fight?
Him against Stephen Fulton?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I think it'll be a good fight. Stephen Fulton's a guy that's a really good boxer. I feel like he puts his combinations together very well. And Brandon Figueroa is a guy that comes forward and is in your face the entire fight. So, I mean, I definitely can't wait for it. We did see what Stephen Fulton did to Angelo Leo.
Which is weird because he fought him on the inside. Yeah,
he fought him on the inside and got the better of him on the inside. And we all thought, well, what a lot of people were saying was Angelo Leo, that was his fight to win.
Yeah,
because of how it was fought.
And Fulton just said, "Nope, I'm gonna beat you that way."
And he never wilted is the thing. Oh. And I think it was mainly because Angelo Leo doesn't have that type of power.
True.
If you're gonna fight that type of fight, you need to have the power in order to be able to wilt your opponents. Because if you don't, then they're there to get hit, or you're there to get hit, and then you'll end up getting outboxed.
Yeah. And Fulton, I think, ended up kind of breaking Angelo Leo a little bit towards the end of that fight. So that's an exciting fight to look forward to. Any thoughts on Nery?
Not really. I mean, I'm not sure where he goes from here.
Back down to 118.
That's what people are saying. I mean, he's having a hard time making 122, right? Isn't he not making 122 pounds?
Well, he was not making 118 by a lot. And then at this weigh-in, he looked really, 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 really bad at the weigh-in. So
yeah, he can't go back down to 118. I think it's time for him to just keep riding the wave at 122 because I don't think he can make 118 anymore. Okay. He's a pretty big dude.
Yeah,
he hits like a truck. So I mean, I think his best shot is to go 122 and just stay there. I mean, there's no need to go back down to 118.
Speaking of 122, I think, Danny Roman, I want to say is probably in my eyes the best 122 pounder, but it's hard to say that because he lost to Akhmadaliev in their previous fight. But Danny Roman, the way he looked in this fight against Espinoza, he just looks so sharp, so crisp, so good. What'd you think of Danny Roman?
Did you say he's the best 122 pounder?
I think so.
That's not what I saw.
Really?
No. Who's at 122 right now?
Fulton, Akhmadaliev.
Is that Rais Salim guy there?
Yeah.
Oh, easy. He'll mop Danny Roman. I really think so. The thing is with Danny Roman, he doesn't have the power, I feel, to when he moves up and when he fights these killers like Figueroa, Fulton. Is Ray Vargas still there? At 122?
I don't know if he moved. I think he moved up to 126.
He did?
Think so.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I didn't see his name on the list of champions.
Yeah,
so.
no.
Oh, okay. So. That's.
Oh, no, because that's the belt Nery had, the WBC 122.
The one that Ray Vargas had?
Yeah. Well, the 122.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So Vargas.
So Nery must have fought for it it was a vacant belt. Yeah. Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah, I think. I think for now, Danny Roman's a good fighter and everything, but I feel like he doesn't have the power for the type of style that he fights.
Okay.
If I'm being, he is very crisp, a good boxer. He puts his combinations together well, has really good head movement, and I feel like he's a really good counterpuncher as well. I feel like he doesn't have the, how can I say it? Enough power when it comes to these guys that can really crack.
And I know what you mean because in that fight against Akhmadaliev, where he lost his belts, that fight was where he needed just a little bit more power to get more of Akhmadaliev's respect.
I think so.
So yeah, I completely understand what you're saying.
It's kind of like a well, take a Paulie Malignaggi for example. He in his career before he had those kind of hand injuries, once he got the hand injuries, it seemed like he had all the boxing skill to kind of school these guys for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then once you're able to just put the pressure and you don't have the power to keep a guy off of you like that, you start to run into guys like when he ran into Sean Porter, when he ran into a guy like Danny Garcia, even though he was on a decline in his career, like he was already on his way out. But I feel like Danny Roman's gonna run into that same problem soon. Okay.
I mean that I don't disagree with you.
And I feel like
at the same time I feel Danny Roman looked a lot sharper in this fight than I think some people are giving him credit for.
No, I feel like he looked sharp, but the thing was when I felt like he should have got this guy out of there just out of there sooner because he was landing a lot of clean shots. Mm-hmm. Shots that guys like other guys in the 122 pound division say guys like Rais Salim lands on Espinoza, he's getting knocked out. Okay. I feel.
I don't disagree. I feel you. Danny Roman has not been known as a big power puncher in his career. I believe he only has 10 knockouts out of 27 wins now. Or 28 wins. But yeah, I do not I don't disagree with you about the power. I do disagree with you, however, that I thought he looked damn good. And I've been a Danny Roman fan for a while, and this was some of the
Since
best work.
when?
What do you mean since when?
Since when? We
Since he
haven't
was
talked about this guy at all.
You haven't talked about him.
I haven't talked about it. I'll be honest. I
bring it
never
up
talked
to-
about him.
I brought him up to you a while back. Even for the Akhmadalia fight, you didn't even remember who Danny Roman was. You don't even remember the Akhmadalia fight.
I didn't even watch the Akhmadalia fight, to be honest. I
Then you
watched this
can't-
one, though, and
then
I was
you-
pretty disappointed.
Then you can't make it. You don't know. Danny Roman.
Did he win that fight?
No, he lost.
By what? By knockout?
No, it was a decision. It was close.
It was a close fight?
Close decision, yeah.
Yeah, I have to look at it
Yeah,
and
you have to watch it.
do my research, but
Yeah, Danny Roman.
all I know is there's some killers at 122 right now.
I think Danny Roman started his career like 5-2 or something like that, 5-2-1, and then he went on a tear after that. He's been through adversity, so I've been a big fan of his. I thought he won that Akhmadalia fight, but that fight was really close. I had no arguments with Akhmadalia winning. So yeah, I hope they rematch. I wanted them to rematch right away, but promotional stuff happened. All right, any last comments on the fights this weekend?
Not really. I mean, for Danny Roman, there's gonna be some good competition there. Brandon Figueroa,
Fulton.
yeah, Fulton, Ray Salim. I don't know what's going on with Ray Salim. He just beat Victor Pasillas
Yeah.
in a fight that we all thought Pasillas was gonna win.
Yeah.
So somehow, Ray Salim really showed he's a real deal. So I can't wait for him to get a title shot. And I feel like Victor Pasillas is still there in the mix as well.
Oh,
Angelo Leo there is still there. That people are saying he's looking to get some revenge. So who else is at the 122-pound division that you think could make?
Well,
some
those are the main guys. There's one.
Right.
There's one fighter from Japan who has a part of one of the belts also. So that's another guy in the mix. But most of these guys, at least what they have in common is that they're fighting with or working with PBC. So
Right.
all these fights, except for Akhmadaliev, but all of these fights are I think
makeable fights.
yes, makeable fights. So 122 has a nice future, at least a nice near future with Fulton Figueroa unifying, Danny Roman, Akhmadaliev, Ray Salim. There's a lot of good fights coming soon at 122.
And I think all these guys are willing to fight each other too. I don't think anybody's gonna really shy away. Like Stephen Fulton and Angelo Leo was a good fight. I felt that was made. It was two undefeated guys, right?
Yep.
So, two undefeated guys. Now it was Nery and Brandon Figueroa, another two undefeated guys. So they were both willing to fight each other. So I think there's not going to be any ducking, any, nobody fighting each other, this and that. And if you think about it as well, say Ray Salim, he's undefeated, right?
Yes.
Say Ray Salim and he gets a shot at the title with whichever winner, a guy like Brandon Figueroa, Stephen Fulton. Brandon Figueroa, Stephen Fulton, or the winner of those guys, it'll be another undefeated battle of two undefeated fighters.
Yeah.
So that's what people want to see nowadays.
Well, honestly, let's get into the business side of boxing. When these guys don't make
There
that
is no
much
business anymore. It's corrupt.
but these guys don't make as much money as say the welterweights, the lightweights, the middleweights, the heavyweights. These guys don't make that much money. So for them, if they want to make the good paydays, they're gonna have to fight these type of fights. That's their paydays for them. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate. Like, hey, you're a small guy. You're gonna have to fight these tougher fights in order for you to get the paydays that you want. Whereas if you're a heavyweight or a middleweight or a welterweight, you could take these lesser fights that I think you're more guaranteed to win, and make your money there. These guys don't have that opportunity, so they have to go out and fight the best to make some money.
Do you feel like Inoue is gonna move up to 122 at any point in his career?
I don't know because
He's at 118 right now, right?
I think so. We've only seen him once at 118 when he fought Maloney.
Right.
But we'll see. He's not a 115. No, 118. That's right.
He's
it was
118.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if his size will hinder him from being a good 122 pounder. I think we saw with the Nonito Donaire fight that yes, he has pop. Yes, he has power, but also Donaire was able to land on him.
Right.
Donaire was able to hit him and really hurt him for a little bit. So it's like, okay, Donaire was a 122 pounder who was able to dominate at 126 for a while. And now moving back down to 118, like you could tell Donaire was the bigger guy in that fight. So in no way moving up to 122, maybe in the future, but at the same time, I could see him just sticking it out at 118.
All right.
Any last comments on UFC or boxing?
I think we covered it all. Stay tuned for our preview on Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor. They're gonna square out for to become the undisputed champ at 140 pounds.
All the marbles,
all the belts. Veremos quién es el más macho.
El más macho. So we'll go in depth as to how they got their titles and who has what title and all that good stuff. We'll make sure we straighten everything out.
And also Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt is this Saturday as well. So we'll preview that too.
Yes, that's a good fight that I think people are not talking about enough.
Mm-hmm. And anything else?
Nope, we're good.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of the A Sports Podcast. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Thanks a lot, guys.